Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to an excited Wrestling Days because we have got a massive Wrestling Day just hours away. We've got New Japan Pro Wrestling giving us Royal Quest from London. We've got WWE giving us NXT UK Takeover Cardiff from Wales. And then of course over in the US, AEW are giving us All Out. We're going to be watching NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, followed by All Out. So I'm not going to include predictions for Royal Quest because we're not going to be watching it. There's not enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. So we're going to be watching NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, followed by All Out. We're doing the live stream for that. So if you're interested in either of those shows, both of those shows, make sure that you are joining us here on this channel. Live reaction, analysis, thoughts, feelings, dreams. We're going to cover it all. So make sure that you join us here. Right, with that being said, let's move on to the predictions. Let's start with NXT UK Takeover Cardiff. And let's start with Travis Banks versus Noam Dar. Now, Noam Dar joined NXT UK from 205 Live. He's not really made that much of an impact. This really is a big stage for him now. You could argue that the winner here will go on to become the #1 contender. Travis Banks has kind of put the hard work in. He's been with NXT UK from the start. I think he's going to get the victory here. I've seen other people predicting Noam Dar because he needs the win. But I just think Travis Banks is at the point where he legit could go for that championship next. But a defeat here is going to knock him back. So I'm going to go with Travis Banks. Next up, we've got the NXT UK Tag Team Championship match. The champions, grizzled young veterans, taking on Gallus, taking on Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. Now, very difficult to call. A lot of people are saying the championship is going to stay with grizzled young veterans. I'm going to say new champions. I'm going to say Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. They are both, of course, from Wales. This event is happening in Wales. I'm not sure I can see any other title changes on this card. So if there's going to be a title change, I think it's going to be here. Why would you not put the belts on the hometown boys? So I think they will go with Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. Next up, we've got a last man standing match, and I'm really looking forward to this. Dave Mastiff, one of my favourite wrestlers in NXT UK. Someone that I can see being an absolute future champion, no doubt about it. Taking on Joe Coffey. And this is last man standing. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be similar, I would imagine, to what we saw at NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, where it was Dave Mastiff against Eddie Dennis. That was quite brutal, hard hitting. Obviously, lots of weapons involved in that. So with this, something similar, I think, and I think a similar result as well. I'm going with Dave Mastiff. That brings us to the Women's Championship, Toni Storm versus Kaylee Ray. And I am going to go with Toni Storm. She only won that championship at TakeOver Blackpool. If we're saying that the tag title is going to change hands, then I don't see the women's title changing hands. For me, it's either one or the other. I've gone with the tag titles, so Toni Storm retains. It looks like Rhea Ripley has gone off to NXT, so they kind of need big stars more than ever. So just keep the title on Toni, keep building her up, keep having her overcome the odds, defeating people, and you can build that women's division around her. I expect to see some sort of run-in after. Is it Jazzy that I think was brought over at the same time as Kaylee Ray? So maybe she will get involved at the end of this match. Finally, that brings us to the main event. Walter, the NXT UK champion, taking on the first ever NXT UK champion, Tyler Bate. I think that Walter will retain. They actually did this match for Progress at Hello Wembley not that long ago. Walter came out on top then. Apparently, I didn't see the match, but absolutely fantastic match. I think this is going to be an exact rerun. I think this is going to be an absolutely fantastic match. It could steal the show, and I think Walter, who is big, strong, dominant, I just think is going to have too much at this stage for Tyler Bate, who has been competing in a lot of tag matches with Trent Seven as part of Mustache Mountain. So not that easy for him to switch back into singles mode. Yeah, I think Walter will win. And who knows, maybe the rest of Imperium will get involved. We could see Trent Seven coming down, maybe even Pete Dunne. But I think Walter retains. And before we actually move on, we need to talk about Pete Dunne, who doesn't have a scheduled match. We know that Cesaro is going to be in attendance. I would expect someone else as well. At Blackpool, we had Charlotte Flair in attendance, but Finn Balor was there as well and obviously got involved in a match. I think Cesaro will be there. Wouldn't surprise me if there was someone in the crowd that's waving, maybe a new signee or a main roster star, just to give it a little bit of an extra push. But yeah, I think Cesaro could challenge Pete Dunne. We could get that match. And if we do, I think Pete Dunne wins. Right, we need to move on to AEW All Out. This really is the main event. It is their arguably biggest show ever. We're going to crown the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And yeah, this is a very stacked card. Let's start with the buy-in. There's going to be a 21-woman battle royal. We're going to see pretty much all of the women that are signed. I would imagine you're going to see the likes of Leather Bates. I think you're going to see the likes of Brandi Rhodes. I think you're going to see some of those Joshi female Japanese wrestlers. So yeah, I'm expecting all of that. I'm expecting Awesome Kong. I'm expecting Aja Kong. Surprise-wise, we know a few names. We know that Jazz is going to be in there from WWE. We know that Rowdy Roddy Piper's daughter is going to be involved as well. Few question marks about Priscilla Kelly, because she is actually married to Darby Allin. So I think you could see her. But the winner, I'm going to go with Dr. Britt Baker. Dr. Britt Baker. I honestly think they're building her up to big things. She obviously got the victory at Double or Nothing. She really is like the big star in that women's division. There's no one really else that I can think of that's kind of close to her. I mean, Nyla Rose has been used on a few shows, but she keeps coming up short. So I'm going to stick with Dr. Britt Baker. Next up, we've got a tag match, Private Party, taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. I think Private Party are going to win here. I think they impressed a lot of people last time out. A lot of people really surprised with what they saw from Private Party. Even like Cody and the Young Bucks, I don't think they quite expected that level of performance. So I think they'll be rewarded with a win. They were already rewarded with a contract. So I think they'll get the victory here. Moving on to the main card then. So our first match on the main card is going to see Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marko Stunt taking on SCU. Very, very hard match to call because could go either way. Both of these teams are quite popular. They're used all the time on like Being the Elite, the YouTube show. I think that SCU have obviously got the experience advantage. So I think they'll probably give it to SCU. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is like Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy that end up getting the victory here. Moving on, we got Best Friends versus Dark Order. Dark Order have been causing carnage and havoc. They've been kind of getting themselves involved after matches. And honestly, I think they need to establish themselves here. So I'm going to say that Dark Order win. I know that Best Friends are a fantastic tag team. People absolutely love those guys. But I think a really good way of establishing yourself is by getting a victory over a much-loved team on one of the biggest shows that AEW have ever done. So if they really do want to establish Dark Order, they've got to give them the win here. So very much interested in that match. Also, a match I'm interested in, Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela. This is going to be carnage. These guys just love hurting themselves, hurting other people, pushing their bodies to the extreme. I think Jimmy Havoc is a veteran. I'm not sure he's necessarily there to go chasing after championships. I think he's not fodder or a jobber. No way do I think that. But I think he sort of makes up the numbers. He's just a really good wrestler. He's a good person to have around. But I don't necessarily think he's going to pick up the victory here. Joey Janela, again, he absolutely could get the victory. He is much loved. But I think they're going to go with Darby Allin. The reason why, because I think he's got a really bright future. I thought his match against Cody was fantastic. I think he's a very interesting character, and he's definitely marketable. He's definitely someone that they can invest in, and so I think they'll go that way. I think they'll go with Darby Allin. Next up, we've got Riho against Hikaru Shida. Now, Hikaru Shida is signed to AEW, but I don't think Riho is. So, for that reason, I'm going to go with Shida. But Riho could get the victory. She's been used a lot. In fact, I don't even know if she is signed or not. I've said she's not, and I'm sure she isn't. But they do use her all the time. I gotta be honest, this isn't a match I'm that excited for. The Joshi female wrestlers haven't really connected with me yet. I'm a big fan of Joshi female wrestlers. Used to love back in the day the likes of Bull Nakano, obviously Miko Satomura, Manami Toyota. But for some reason, I'm just struggling a little bit with this group. I think it's because it's all new. Like, everything is new. So, they're not able to stand out. Like, if AEW was established and then you brought them in, then I think they would shine. Then I think the spotlight would be brighter on them. But at the moment, there's just so much to talk about. Look at new championships, tournaments, what's happening with the TV show. They're kind of getting lost in the shuffle. So I'm really hoping this match does very, very well. A very tough one to call, but I've gone with Shida on this one. Next, Cody versus Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is going to be accompanied to the ring by Tully Blanchard, an absolute legend. Shawn Spears calling himself the chairman of AEW. Of course, because he used that chair on Cody, busting his head open. It was an absolute mess. Blood everywhere. It was a chair shot gone wrong. But they've built this match on the back of that. And again, you know, I just think they need to build stars, very similar to what we were saying about Darby Allin. I've been very surprised at how many times Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny not so much of course, but how they are booking themselves to win matches. They're putting themselves over. They can't keep doing that. So I really think Shawn Spears needs the victory here. Where is Shawn Spears going to go from here if he loses to Cody Rhodes? So I really think Shawn Spears needs the win. Moving on to the Young Bucks against the Lucha Bros. This is for the AAA Tag Team Championships. Again, exact same reason. I just don't think the Young Bucks can put themselves over again. They've got to lose a match. There's no need for them to become AAA champions again. So this feud needs to end. So let's end it on a high. We've seen it a few times now, this match. And so I would give the victory to the Lucha Bros. Moving on, we've got Pac versus Kenny Omega. This, of course, was meant to be Moxley against Omega. Moxley out injured, which is a real shame. I think they're going to go with Pac. I think Pac really does care about wins and losses, which is great. I think wrestlers should care about wins and losses. I can't imagine him signing up to do this match if he's going to lose. So I think that he's going to get the victory here. I think this match could be the match of the whole weekend. Pac versus Omega, absolutely huge. Right, moving on, we have got one more match to talk about. Of course, it is going to be the main event. This is going to be for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page. Now, people are really split on this. You can only ever be the first once. No one else can do it. So it's really important. This is going to have a lot of drama. I think there's going to be close falls. For me, AEW All Out needs to end on a high. Needs to have a real big feel-good moment. There's a lot of love for Hangman Page. I'm going to go with Hangman Page. Hangman Adam Page will be the first AEW champion. I've seen people saying it'll be Jericho because he's more marketable. People know him. If he's the champion, it's going to help bring in casual fans. My argument to that is he doesn't need to be champion to still do that. He can still do that without the belt. So I think this way you would have Jericho bring in fans in, but then also you've got a champion that maybe some of the casual fans have never heard of, have never seen. So they're not only going to be watching for Jericho, they're going to be watching to see who this guy is and what's he about, why is he champion. So yeah, I think it would make perfect sense to go with Hangman Page. Of course, we have to talk about CM Punk. I think CM Punk will be there. I think that there could be a crowd shot of CM Punk. I think even if they were able to convince him, there could be a face-to-face between CM Punk and Kenny Omega. I gotta be honest, I don't think it's ever going to lead to a match. I don't think CM Punk is going to come back and wrestle. I just don't get that vibe. I don't get that impression. But would CM Punk accept money to ensure that this was a success for AEW, to get everyone talking about AEW, to stick it to WWE? I think he would. It's win-win. Like, he's there for the weekend, so I don't think he's got anything else on. And also the fact that I'm sure they'll pay him a considerable amount. I'm sure the conversation has been had. He can do whatever he wants. Like, if he doesn't want to do a match, he doesn't have to do a match. I don't think you're going to see CM Punk join AEW. I would be very surprised if that happened. He just doesn't seem to have that passion for wrestling anymore. Although, who knows, things might have changed now. But for me, I think that he could be convinced to do something, even if it is just sitting at ringside. So watch this space, because I think you could see him. Also, big questions about who's going to bring the Women's Championship down. We should see that for the first time. Apparently, it's going to get revealed. So, obviously, it was Bret Hart that showed off the world title, the men's world title. You're probably looking at maybe someone like Alundra Blaze, if she can be convinced. Maybe someone like Gail Kim. You know, I'm trying to think of like a legend, a legendary female wrestler. Maybe Manami Toyota would be amazing. Bull Nakano could be on that list as well. So we're going to have to wait and see. I've seen people saying like Trish and Lita, but I think they're too loyal to WWE, so I don't expect those guys. But let's wait and see. I think there will be surprises at All Out, and maybe CM Punk will be the biggest one. Awesome, guys. Don't forget, we're doing that live stream. Make sure that you join us for those. And let me know your thoughts, your predictions down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.